YB stays on your neck.
Nah, no firmado nada
No,
todavía,
I haven't
pero
signed
ya
anything
estamos
yet, but we
negociando
are in
todo.
negotiations. They want to have the
Estamos
fight
a la
there in
pelea
Saudi
que quieren
Arabia,
hacer allá,
but let's
pero
see the
a ver
negotiations between our
dónde
teams.
negociamos. We taking that rematch, champ, of course, but it's gonna be on my term and our term. We're gonna bring it back here in the United States, here in Saudi Arabia. Like I said, I don't have no protection over there. The United States of America wants. Never mind, I can't say nothing, but.
Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. Well, once again, the YB has got more exclusive proprietary sources that have been now confirmed by Andy, Margin, Boo, Ruiz. Now, I want to cast your man's minds back to the start of July, because it was, I believe, around the 10th of July that the YB could proprietarily bring you exclusive information about this Andy Ruiz situation. And in particular, I want to cast your minds back to when I told everyone at the time, July 10th, that Andy Ruiz and Al Gaiman had employed a whole gang of Harvard lawyers. And everyone sat there laughing, oh, why, they haven't got lawyers. And I said, truth of the matter is, Al Gaiman has been banging away, employing lawyers, all trying to find a loophole. Absolutely trying to find a loophole to get them out of this fight. And I said that 5 weeks ago, and it now comes to pass. And the reason that's relevant will kind of play out throughout this video, but I just wanted to remind everyone that no one was telling you this, whether or not you want to believe whatever you want to believe. No one. Is it pure chance that the YB just knew that Al Gaiman had lawyers trying to find a loophole, and now it's been publicly confirmed? And how we know it's publicly confirmed is this. Cast your minds back also to a few days ago when that Andy Ruiz interview came out. And Andy Ruiz said things like, yes, America, I can't talk about that. He said stuff about America, stuff about how we can't talk about that, stuff about, security risk and all this business, and all that stuff about the security risk and I can't say that, I can't say this. That there is lawyer talk. You don't start talking about security risk and how America and how you can't talk about stuff. All that business there was lawyer talk, which there is evidence they've had a whole gang of lawyers trying to find a loophole. And that's why he believes the lawyers have gassed him up. That's their job. Lawyers are salesmen. They're never going to tell you, yeah, this case is shut down. They're never going to tell you, Eddie Hearn's got you guts for garters. They're going to tell you, yeah, Al, give us your money. They're paid on an hourly basis. Even though I've heard from other sources inside the legal company who told me that they were laughing when Al Gaiman came along requiring their services, because they knew within the first hour that Eddie Hearn's contract was what they call in the legal world watertight. There wasn't a lick getting in or out of that contract. They knew that at the time. But if Al Gaiman wants to come along and enrich the legal services industry, that's what he's done. That's all he's done. Because as it sits today, the fight's still in Saudi Arabia. All this business Andy Ruiz talking about, security risk, I can't talk about that, American citizens, all that business is no good. The lawyers have led you down the garden path, Al. You've been mugged off. You've not only, and I said this at the time actually, funnily enough, not only have you now been legally gamed by Hearn, you've also been mugged off, and you're now more millions. We already know you're 400 million down on the PBC venture. You're now another few million down on these legal expenses that have come to nothing. The fight's going to be wherever you're told it's going to be, Al. That's that. But I'm just glad it's come to pass that they have had a gang of lawyers on this business trying to find little loopholes about all this security. There is no security risk. As many people, and even, I'm not sure who pointed out, but quite rightly so, allegedly, the UK is a level 2 security risk as well. In fact, I'm pretty sure the US is a level 2 security risk. The amount of gun crime and all that stuff, all them shootings they have over there, no other not from what I hear anyway. No other country has that sort of stuff kicking off. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's more shootings in USA per population than there is in Saudi Arabia. So I'm not sure what, if anything, AJ should be happy coming to Saudi Arabia. You're less likely to get shot by some mad don who's lost the plot. Anyway, let's now we've verified YB's exclusive inside proprietary sources within Andy Ruiz's camp and within Andy Ruiz's legal team. Let's now get to the point of this video. What you see on your screen, well, you've seen it for a few minutes now. Andy Ruiz is backtracking, but it's not any backtracking. It's really not. And now you'll see also how this whole legal stuff plays out. Andy Ruiz, this particular backtracking has been done under the influence of his legal team. They've told him, Andy, these last few weeks, I know you've been struggling with your mental health and you've been seeing physicians and the YB's found out through exclusive sources and CIA wiretaps that you ain't been feeling right and you've been on the Prozac and you've been on all these ones there trying to level. I think that's what they call it. You got to try to level yourself out. All the fear and all the anxiety of fighting AJ got to you. We know that. However, over these last few weeks, you've let your emotions get on top of you. You've come out and said, the rematch ain't happening, I'm in control, all this business, and it doesn't look good from a legal point of view. Because at the moment, Hearn and Team AJ, they've got a treasure trove of information of Andy Ruiz publicly, publicly, not denying the contract, but publicly coming out there and saying stuff which is contrary to the contract, which is important because if it does end up in court, that information's as good as anything. In as much as explaining and showing proof of Andy Ruiz's behaviour and his actions. He don't want this rematch, and that's why he's coming out now and trying to backtrack. Oh no, we do want the rematch, and we're talking, it's gonna get done. It's too late now though, it's all out there. When it ends up in court, that's where it's going. When it ends up in court, everyone will be able to say, on this day, you said you weren't doing this and you weren't doing that. You no good now coming along saying, yes, I want the rematch. It's going to happen. Because if it was going to happen, you already know you're done. You already know it's all cooked in. If it's going to happen, put your signature, agree to it, put the promotion out, and fall into line. That's what I'm struggling with at the moment. I'm struggling because if Andy Ruiz does have intentions of actually taking this fight, never mind putting a tweet out and saying, we're going to have this fight. Never mind putting that out. Just agree to it. That's that. It's all been, luckily enough for you, you're working with an A-team. Hearn's got the business infrastructure like no other. It's all done for you. Al Gaiman don't have to get in. Don't worry, Al. You don't have to stress yourself out about taking more financial losses. Hearn, Mr. Green, Mr. In the Green, Mr. In the Plus, has sorted out all the business stuff. All you need to do is get on board and start promoting the fight. So what do you mean? There is no negotiations. That's what I'm struggling with now. If I'm to believe that Andy Ruiz wants this fight, there is no negotiations. What's he talking about? We're still continuing to talking and we still continue working on the details. The details are done. They were done in the last 5 weeks. That's what I don't understand. Normally when Hearn came out and put the event out there, that's when all the details are already done. And that's why he came out and did that, to essentially put pressure on Ruiz. And that's when we actually found out at that point that Ruiz weren't really on board, because then he didn't follow suit. He didn't put the promotions out. He actually came out at that point and said, we're the ones in control. We can do it our way. We can do it in New York. That's when he came out and said all that stuff. It wasn't until Hearn put him under pressure that he had to come out and actually expose his real plan. Which, by the way, YB was saying for 5 weeks that he wasn't on board. Which only came to light in the last week or so. But maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe this talking business will actually come to fruition. But as I keep saying, I just don't understand. I'm not sure what I do know. What I know what game they're playing. They're playing the game of the typical Al Gaiman game, where just not a lot of anything's going on. He wants Andy Ruiz to be fighting. Look at Errol Spence, for example. Just fighting to be fair, he's fighting Porter now, but for however long, just fighting all these random weird ass fights. Like he fought Kell Brook 2 years ago? Yeah, he fought Kell Brook
no, more than that, 2.5 years ago now. What's Errol Spence been doing for the last 2.5 years? Just milling around the place. That's the problem with Al Gaiman. That's what he wants. He wants Ruiz to get the belts and hang around for 2 years. That's what he wants. Ultimately, what he doesn't want is the AJ fight again. Because people sitting there saying, oh no, he only wants more money. He only wants a new location. But he's never going to get that. So you've got to think deeper into people's true motives. He must know, when you sign a contract, you've signed a contract. He must know he ain't getting not a penny more than what he signed up for. So why is he really coming out and saying things like what did it for me was when he started saying we're in control, we're going to do it on our terms. That there was absolute proof that this fight ain't going to happen for me, because you've got polar opposites. You've got the truth and what's real and reality, i.e. Hearn has a real contract. And then you've got other guys which are complete on the other end of the spectrum, on the other end of the polars. You've got north and south. Ruiz on the other side, he thinks he's in control. He thinks he's going to do it on his terms. He thinks he's the A side. And that's what I just can't see them coming to an agreement. Maybe I'll be wrong though. Maybe, I wouldn't like to think it, but maybe they will end up giving Ruiz more money. I hope not though. I'd rather see it go to court, just on principle on this one. On absolute principle. But in reality, from a business point of view, even if they do have to, bearing in mind Ruiz is a $100 million turkey, even if they do have to pay him 20, they're still making 80. So that from a business point of view, it may actually end up happening that Hearn does bend a bit. But that's what I'm not part of that. That pisses me off. That does. That's what you signed. Bottom line. But then again, Hearn knows that going to court is going to drag out both of their careers. I'm not sure whether it stops AJ fighting, but either way, it's going to take time and whatnot. So let's see what happens going forward. Beware though, everything that happens over the next period of time, think about what actually is going on. Because all I know is, apart from the exclusive sources I've brought you, something's not right for me anyway. Something's not right. When he sat there, that video was really telling. When he sat there and said, we're going to do it on our terms. When he sat there and said, oh yeah, I can't speak about that. What can't you speak about? What have they got? And someone, I can't remember who it was, maybe Hatman, maybe someone like that. Someone said that maybe Andy Ruiz and Gaiman know something. Maybe the millions of dollars they've spent on lawyers have come to fruition with something. Maybe they have, but I don't think it's true. But either way, when you come up with a legal loophole, that can only play out in court anyway. And that's what leads me to believe that that they actually plan on taking it to court. Does that make sense? Like, for example, the fact that Andy Ruiz believes is the A side, the fact he believes that we're going to do it on his terms, the only way this fight would ever happen on his terms is if they end up going to court and he ends up winning. Because take the court part out of it. How would it? He doesn't have a contract. Ruiz doesn't have a contract obligating AJ to follow Ruiz as the A side. So what planet is he on? Are they preparing to go court? That's what it leans to, in my opinion. How else? If Gaiman isn't planning on going to court, how else are they going to get this A side? How else are they going to do it on their terms? How? I don't get it. But maybe they will be able to enforce an A-side leverage over AJ and Team AJ without going to court. But someone explain to me how that would possibly happen. I don't understand it. And don't give me the whole, they got the belts. The belts don't mean a lick. If they mean a lick, then we wouldn't even be sitting here. And it'd be clear that Ruiz was the A-side. Anyway, a whole lot of jargon there. The last thing I'll quickly touch on is that quote we heard at the start of this video from Ruiz, which essentially said that, listen, he hasn't signed a contract, and this is what I've been saying for the longest time, and I want to make it clear one more time for everyone. For me, Hearn obviously has a contract which is watertight, as I've explained from my sources. It's proven watertight. That contract is from April 2019. Until Ruiz has said here, he hasn't signed nothing. Meaning, since June 1st has happened, he hasn't never put his pen to paper. Now, Hearn says that, Hearn says himself that they've only ever signed one contract, and that's the first contract. But each fight also has a bout agreement, which stipulates what fighters are getting paid what, where it is, when it is, and all that sort of business. Now, I find it hard to believe that you can have one bout agreement for 2 fights, and that's what Ruiz is saying. In fact, what you'll see on your screen now goes even further to proving this. Look at the MMA industry. They're both the same, by the way. They both have the same commissions, or they both deal with the same commissions. And what you'll see is fighters. Look at the UFC fighters. Whether they're fighting someone or not is to do with the bout agreement. Yeah. This one here with Tyron Woodley or Kamaru Usman, whether they're fighting or not is based on whether they've signed a bout agreement. And as I say, they've both got the Nevada State Athletic Commission. We're all dealing with the same commissions here within boxing and MMA. So explain to me, if the bout agreements are so important in UFC and in MMA, Eddie Hearn saying, "Oh, well, it don't really matter." Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. If UFC fighters are contractually locked into a fight once they've signed a bout agreement, then so must be boxing fighters. And with that said, the fact Andy Ruiz hasn't signed up to a bout agreement, just like the fighters in the earlier examples in the UFC hadn't. If a UFC fighter, as you've seen on the screen over the last few minutes, if a UFC fighter hasn't got a signed bout agreement, the fight is not on. At the moment, Joshua Ruiz 2 has no signed bout agreement, so I can only conclude the fight is not on until that, and that's what Ruiz means by "I haven't signed nothing for this fight." Each fight has its own obligations, and even Hearn also slipped up, because he said himself that he's been speaking to the IBF and the governing bodies, and they've signed off on it, which proves the fact that the IBF and the governing bodies have signed off on it for this new fight tells me there are new processes for each fight. If that one contract was, if it was one contract fits both fights, then why has Hearn had to go along to the governing bodies again? Shouldn't he have done that for the first fight, and shouldn't that just carry over? No. The reason Hearn's had to go to the governing bodies is because each fight has processes. Each fight has to be approved by the governing bodies, and each fight has to be signed off on a bout agreement. None of that stuff hasn't taken place yet. Hence, the fight ain't on until Ruiz is on board. That's how it goes smoothly. And Ruiz has said here he ain't signed it. He ain't signed nothing. And he's a fighter. He knows that you have to sign something for each fight. Contractual or not. A contract is only a contract. Once you sign up, that means that's when you're locked in on board. Each fight you'll sign, rematch clause or not. Until Ruiz actually comes out and says he's on board and or signs up to the new stuff, this fight ain't happening, man. Simple. And in the meantime, when you hear him saying, "Oh yeah, we want this fight and we're still talking," just think of it, because this stuff could have been locked up a long time ago. How long is it now? It's June, July. Wow, it's literally 3 months nearly now. Are you telling me? So Hearn keeps trying to convince us everything's okay. Well, if everything's okay, why isn't this been locked up? It's been 3 months now, and they literally started negotiations. Bang off, not negotiation, but they started this process on probably June 5th. Even if we call it June 10th, that's 2.5 months. They started this process immediately. That's unusual. Tell me another fight in history which is taken, especially a rematch. Rematches are normally quicker. Tell me another fight which has taken 2.5 months to get locked in. Oh, and by the way, this fight ain't even locked in yet. This here also proves the YB sources. The fact that it's been nearly 3 months since the start of the situation's gone on, and there still is no resolution. He's still saying they've got more to talk about. He don't want it. But let's see how it plays out. And that's more evidence as well, which implies to me that potentially Al Gaiman has a long-term plan here involving the courts, because you've got to ask yourself, if they haven't been able to get on board in 3 months is a long-ass time. If in 3 months, bearing in mind as well, this contract had a rematch clause in it. So normally when a rematch clause is in it, it's pretty simple stuff. Look at the Fury versus Vlad fight. When that rematch clause got executed, it was real quick. Don't take long. It's not rocket science. However, That said, it's been 3 months now, so you've got to ask yourself, given how quick this process should have been, it should have been a month, jobby. The fact it's taken 3 months and we still haven't met a resolution, is that just pure chance? Is it just unlucky that the fact that, oh well, it's taken a bit longer than normal? Or is it a plan? Is it a design? Has our gamer been stringing this out for a purpose? Now, I've speculated myself, maybe it's because he wants to catch AJ off guard. That might be it. He might end up just signing it real late. Or has he got a real master plan? Only time will tell unless the YB gets some more exclusive information. Keep it tapped. Listen, as I said before, we've got the YB CIA wiretaps are running 24/7. We've got all the algorithms, yeah, tracking all that data. All them calls he's been putting on. The whole lot's being tracked, so we'll have some new information coming soon, no doubt.